What's the single hardest habit to change in a support team that has, that's been doing something the same way for years? Across your experience, do you see it kind of one thing that's always kind of hard to change?
I think the hardest thing to change is giving people a sense that they're allowed to change things. Oftentimes, like you said, they've been doing it this way for years. And if I ask the question, well, why do we do it this way? They tell me, and then I say, why don't we change it? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, so that's one thing I like about Marty, our CEO, is he's like, Chris, if we don't like a thing, just change it. If it doesn't work, change it back and then find something else. And, when you have a leader like that, it just makes the job that much more fun, because it's like you get to keep you hear the term failing fast, right? So that's one of the things that we do too. We're like, let's just try this, see if it works. If we get any blowback or something like that, let's pivot back to where we were, find the next thing. And that's really been the thing. But once those people learn that it's okay to do that, it's so much fun to even kind of sit back and watch, just watch them start to do it without without needing your thumbs up, that it's okay. So yeah, so that's probably the big thing.
Yeah, it's funny when people get enabled. I call that being
Yeah.
enabled, right? It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
have the authority to do this. It
Yeah.
feels good. Now, you mentioned Trustpilot earlier, and you guys have these Trustpilot reviews that you
We
specifically
do.
cited as kind of evidence in your nomination. Customers are naming your support quality directly. They're talking about your teams. Do you track that, and how do you use that customer feedback in continually improving your organization?
Yeah, in fact, that's probably something throughout my career, I've not always been the biggest cheerleader. So in the past decade or so, I've really sort of taken a hold of that and realized the value of it and what it does for people. So we do track it. I do every time we get new surveys, good or bad, but mostly like to really highlight the good ones for letting so everybody in the organization knows when we have good feedback from a customer on our Trustpilot page. When we have the bad ones, we sit down and we figure out what we could have done better, and certainly we always re-engage with the customer to see how we can potentially correct the issue if there was one. But we heavily use it as a source of motivation. There's a little bit of a friendly competition amongst the team where everybody's trying to see who can who can get the most 5-star reviews. And I mean, that's only been in the last, I would say, 10 or so months that we really put our focus on it. And I mean, it's had, it's paid pretty good dividends in terms of the Trustpilot score that we have. I think we were at like a 3.7 or 3.8 when I first got here. We're up to 4.2, approaching 4.3. We just got another really good survey yesterday. So,
Oh, that's
and they're
great.
organic.
Those are hard numbers to move. I've had to do that in my organizations too, and
Yeah, they are hard, right? And that's the other thing is, sharing with everybody that that's a big deal when it moves by point 0.1. Like they don't understand. They're like, well, that doesn't seem that impressive. I'm like, that's a lot,
that means
and
a
then
lot of fives
holding it.
came in.
That's right. So,
That's
so
because
yeah,
it doesn't go up with fours, right?
it does not. In fact, if
It does
anything,
not go
that'll
up
actually
with
bring it
fours.
down. That's
Yeah.
true.
No,
So yeah.
yeah.